A story that might interest you. Dear True Story Nation. About 6 months ago, I discovered your post on YouTube. I find many of them amusing and some disturbing. I think you'll enjoy this story from long ago. There is a long introduction to make the later events understandable. When I was in elementary school, I was kind of short and pudgy. Not obese, but definitely overweight. I started growing in the 8th grade and quickly became tall and skinny. I asked my dad what to do about building myself up. My dad was the quiet, stoic type who spoke little and let his actions speak for him. He was my best friend until he passed away. My mother had passed when I was very young, so it was always dad and me. He said that weights, cardio, and diet would be my best friends and bought me a nice used weight set and good running shoes. I found some books on exercise and started my journey. By the end of my freshman year, I was 6 feet tall and 215 pounds, very well muscled and in great shape. There was a physically challenged kid that attended my high school. Jimmy could walk, but had a distinct gait or limp, and he weighed 90 pounds at the most. I didn't pay much attention to him until the first semester of my sophomore year. He had fallen and was having a difficult time standing up. Everyone was ignoring him, so I put one hand under his shoulder and lifted him to his feet. He smiled and thanked me, and I said that any time he needed a lift to let me know. We both found that extremely funny, and it was the beginning of a lifelong friendship. I was a decent student, but Jimmy was an effing genius and had a quick and sometimes wicked sense of humor. Now, he would help me with some of my challenging classes. He never did any of the work for me, but would explain and point me to books that would help me understand. This instilled a voracious appetite for reading that is still with me. One day in our senior year, I saw a bully from one of the lower classes giving Jimmy a hard time. He was standing in Jimmy's path and forcing him to go around. Bully would step in front of Jimmy again, laughing. I was taller and bigger than Bully, and I inserted myself between the two of them. I asked Jimmy if he needed any help, and he just smiled and said that he could use a lift. We both smiled. I turned my back to him, crouched down, and Jimmy grabbed my shoulders and I carried him to his class. I knew where Bully lived, and that evening I went out for a run and decided to go past his house. I didn't see anything and kept going. A couple of blocks further and I saw the asshat. He hadn't seen me, so I waited where he couldn't see me, and when he was walking past, I swung hard. Due to the awkward angle, I didn't connect real hard, but he went down face first. I went crazy, jumped on him, and pounded his back rib cage and ground his face into the dirt. After about a half dozen hits, I came to my senses and stopped. I picked him, dropped him at the door to his house, knocked, and ran away. No security cameras back then. I went home into my room and waited for the police to come for me. Nothing happened that night. The next day at school, someone told me that Bully had been attacked and had the shit beat out of him. Bully spent one night in the hospital and was at home. He didn't come to school for over a week, and when he returned, he was a different person, quiet and fearful. That night, I told my dad what had happened and what I had done. He listened without interrupting. When I was talked out, he said that I was lucky that Bully couldn't identify his attacker, and there were a large number of kids that wanted to do it, so I was safe. He told me, "You don't break the law until you get caught." I kind of knew what he meant. Don't tell anyone and I'd be fine. He then went on to explain that a man needs to have himself under control and to let the monster inside out only when absolutely necessary. I suddenly understood his quiet, stoic manner. He had a monster inside that he would not let it out. Now that was a long story to explain my personality. I don't get upset about any issue that isn't life-altering. It is best to discuss, explain, and move on if an agreement isn't possible. Jimmy and I went to the same university and stayed close friends. Him helping me with the classes when I needed, and me giving him a lift when he needed it. He started a computer software and consulting business after college and invited me to work there. I was the head of operations, and Jimmy was, of course, the brains. True friends are the best. Now, here is the part your listeners want to hear. While working for Jimmy, I met Gloria. She was cute and funny and a few years younger than me. We started dating, things were going well, and we were spending a lot of time together. I would discuss relationship issues when they arose. When I wanted to become exclusive, I sat down and explained what that meant to me. No relationships with anyone else. No flirting, no private meetings, open and honest communication. She was always taken aback by my upfront, clear, and open communication style. She was much more emotional. She agreed. We weren't living together yet. I had a place and she was in the dorm. After being exclusive for about a year, she said that she wanted to talk to me about something. We sat down and she stated how she was younger and wanted to have more experiences. After watching your videos, True, I knew where this was heading. Jen went on to say that she wanted to date other people so she could experience more of life. Today they call it an open relationship. We talked for hours and I asked if she felt that this was required for her to have a happy life. She said that it was. I then stated that she should feel free to find those experiences that would make her happy. I was crushed, but didn't want to let her know. The next morning, she got ready for school and left. I called Jimmy, explained what we had talked about, and told him that I would be in after lunch. While crying, I carefully packed up the few things that Gloria had at my place and delivered them to her dorm room. I included a note that this relationship wasn't something I was interested in and that I would not be seeing her anymore. I wished her happiness with her life. That evening, I was having a beer with a few friends at our usual place. We were talking about life and love, and they were trying to cheer me up. I explained that Gloria and I were at different points in our journeys and that I would get past this and move on. Then Gloria showed up. She had been crying. She was calling me a controlling bastard, that I couldn't handle an independent woman. I just stared at her. I told her that I thought that the note had said everything that needed to be said. She was shouting about how all men were controlling bastards and women didn't need them. There was a table nearby with 3 women sitting at it. I got up, went to their table, and said that I would buy them a round if they would help resolve a disagreement with my ex-girlfriend. They were a little perplexed, but agreed to hear me out. They came to the table where Gloria was still crying. I explained our relationship, Gloria's request to change the relationship, my agreeing that since this was a requirement for her happiness, that she should pursue it. I further explained that I wanted a monogamous relationship, so I had returned her belongings and wished her a happy life. They were surprised at how clearly I stated the situation. They tried to ask Gloria some questions, but she wasn't in an emotional state to give a coherent answer. The woman finally said that I was in no way controlling, that I might be reserved emotionally, but that was just my personality. They told Gloria that she should move on and find someone that fit her goals. I thanked the women and went to the bar and told the bartender that their tab was on me for the evening. When I returned to my friend's table, Gloria was gone. The friends were discussing how what I had done was the most badass thing they had ever seen. I simply said that things happen in life and how we react defined who we were. Thanks, Dad. When the 3 women left, one of them stopped by our table. She said her name was Betty, and she hoped I was going to be okay and that if I needed to talk, to give her a call. We exchanged numbers at her insistence. Several days later, I got a call from Betty. She asked if I remembered her. I said that I did. She asked how I was doing and offered to take me to dinner to cheer me up. Betty was pretty and very self-confident, and I agreed. We had a wonderful evening. She shared my love of reading and exercise. She is smart, funny, and articulate. We started dating, and the rest, they say, is history. Jimmy passed when he was in his early 40s. He had never married or even has a serious relationship. To my utter shock, he left most of the company to me. Jimmy was always the brains when we started, but he had hired other geniuses along the way and had left each of them a partial ownership. My life with Betty was good. Kids, grandkids, traveling, more than I could have wished for. Some of Jimmy's genius seemed to have rubbed off on my kids. They took over the company when I wanted to retire. Betty and I traveled until one day she didn't feel right. Cancer took her in less than a year. I am old now. I still read and work out some. I live in a suite attached to one of my kids' homes. I see them and the grandchildren regularly. I have only let the monster out a few times in all these years. That was all I needed to. Wow, man. You did handle it like a boss, you know? I wouldn't fault you for when you said you were really sad about it. He wanted that open relationship. Basically, that's what she was asking for, an open relationship. And you just weren't with it. You wrote her a note, whatever, left it on her dorm door and everything, and that should have been that. But she came crawling back like they always do. You handled it well, man. I'm not mad at you. That's not what you want. I'm not signing up for this. For what? We might as well be single. What do we need an open relationship for? It's silly, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, you did the right thing, man. I'm glad you're doing well now. Thanks for sending in this story, man. I really enjoyed this story, actually. I really, really enjoyed it. Guys, if you want to send in a story, send it to truestorynation@gmail.com. Here, I'll put it on the screen. That's truestorynation@gmail.com. Let him know what you guys think about his story in the comments. Catch you guys at the next one. Let's actually see another story. Girlfriend. 31 female wanted an open relationship. I, 34 male, reluctantly agreed. She freaked out now that I am sleeping with other women. About 4 months ago, my girlfriend of 6 years brought up having an open relationship. At first, I said no and was incredibly angry that she would even ask that of me. The thought of my girlfriend sleeping with other guys made me livid. So did the idea that she felt I wasn't giving her what she needs. After a few days, she brought it up again, and I reluctantly agreed to the arrangement. I decided to go ahead with it because I wanted her to be happy and not end up cheating behind my back. I do love her and realize that relationships consist of compromises and finding middle grounds. I told her we could have an open relationship, but I don't want her telling me about other guys or where she is going when she does it. That she just needs to play it safe because I don't want any STDs. Anyhow, about a month into the new arrangement, I realized she was meeting up with some guy for sex. I was pissed at first, but decided to start taking advantage of my newfound freedom as well. There is no point in me sulking and being angry. I started getting on dating apps and talking to new women and going out on dates. I too started sleeping with other women. I currently have 3 FWBs that I see fairly regularly. Anyhow, one of the FWBs likes sending me a bunch of nude selfies. She also likes taking videos of us having sex and sometimes sends me the videos. My girlfriend snooped my phone earlier and went ballistic. She asked me how many women I am seeing and why I am participating in sex videos. After yelling at me for a while, she has been stuck in the bedroom sobbing and doesn't want to be around me. I am puzzled and really not sure what to do or even why she reacted the way she did, considering she proposed this type of relationship. I am not sure how to proceed or even what to say to her. Edit. I want to thank everyone for their input. I am at work now and will try to read and reply to some of the responses. My girlfriend and I didn't talk at all last night, but she did say she wanted to talk this morning right before I was leaving for work. I told her we would talk tonight after work. Edit 2. Things didn't really go too well last night. We spoke about a number of things. She said that she was shocked to see that I was seeing so many women and that she thought I was taking the open relationship thing too far. We never discussed how many partners was acceptable and she thought it would just be one partner on the side. She also said some of the texts she saw hurt her because she thought they crossed a line. She said the open relationship is a mistake and she wants to go back to a monogamous relationship. I told her it is too late for that. She already has involved people outside of our relationship into this mess, and that I am not going to hurt others by breaking off my relationships with them because she didn't have the foresight to realize other people would be affected by her choices. I told her I think she has been acting selfishly throughout this whole situation, and that it has changed my perception of her as a person. I told her that she hurt me proposing this open relationship, but I accepted it to try to make her happy. I told her while I initially didn't want to be in an open relationship, I am actually enjoying being with other partners. I told her I love her, but I believe this relationship has been damaged beyond repair, and I am not going to stop seeing others. I put her needs before my own before, but I no longer have the desire to do that anymore. After reading comments on here and reflecting on the entire situation, I believe it is best that we part ways. So I told her I am moving out and ending the relationship. I told her she can stay in the apartment until the lease is up, but I am moving out as soon as I find a new apartment. TLDR girlfriend wanted open relationship. I reluctantly agreed. Girlfriend slept with at least one guy. I now have several FWBs. Girlfriend snooped my phone. Saw sexually explicit stuff. Girlfriend went ballistic and then started crying hysterically. Not sure how to console her or understand why she reacted like that. Let's see comments. She just wanted an excuse to sleep with other guys without feeling guilty and having it classified as cheating. This was never about you and your relationship. It was about her. She wanted to F some other guy. Didn't think you would want to slash would be able to F anyone else. She wanted to be the one with the power and for you to try your best to compete with this other guy. She completely brought this on herself and can go F herself for being angry. Dump her and watch her instantly get dropped by the other guy too. Completely agree. An open relationship 6 years in isn't a compromise.